The Galactic Council had existed for 12,000 years. It was a place of laws, trade agreements, and careful diplomacy. Hundreds of species from across the galaxy gathered in the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, a station floating between three dying stars. The Council had seen empires rise and fall. They had witnessed wars that burned entire solar systems. They believed they understood the universe and everything in it. They were wrong. The discovery of Earth happened by accident. A survey ship jumped into an unmapped sector and found a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. The planet was alive with primitive signals, radio waves, television broadcasts, simple communication beams shooting into space without any care for who might be listening. They reported their finding to the Council. Ambassador, the senior representative of the Empire, presented the data with barely hidden excitement. A new species meant new trade, new resources, new opportunities. They call themselves humans, announced to the gathered representatives. They are young, perhaps 10,000 years of civilization. They have only recently discovered basic space travel. Their technology is crude but developing rapidly. The Council watched recordings of human cities, buildings made of stone and metal, vehicles moving on wheels, aircraft struggling against gravity with burning fuel. The representatives from older civilizations laughed softly among themselves. This species was nothing special, just another primitive race stumbling toward the stars. "We should make contact," suggested. "Bring them into the fold. They would benefit from our guidance." High Counselor, the ancient leader of the collective, raised her elongated head. Her species had been part of the Council for 9,000 years. They had helped write the laws that governed galactic society. "Follow the standard protocol," ordered. "Send a greeting transmission, explain who we are, invite them to respond." The transmission was sent on every frequency the humans used. It contained mathematical proofs to show intelligence, star maps to show origin, a simple message of peace and an invitation to communicate. Earth received the transmission. Earth stayed silent. The Council waited one rotation of Nexus Prime, then 2, then 10. No response came from the blue planet. The humans continued their daily broadcasts as if nothing had happened. Their satellites kept orbiting. Their radio signals kept flowing into space, but they sent no reply to the Council. "Perhaps they did not understand," Ambassador of the suggested. "Their translation systems may be too primitive." "We included mathematical constants," responded. "Any species capable of space travel would recognize them." "Send another transmission," ordered. A second message was sent. This one was simpler, basic images, simple concepts, a clear request for response. Earth stayed silent. Weeks passed. The Council grew frustrated. Some representatives suggested that humans were simply too primitive to comprehend the message. Others believed there was some technical failure. A few suggested sending a ship to make direct contact. "We should be careful," warned Ambassador of the Dominion. They were warriors. They had fought in 100 conflicts and won most of them, had personally led armies into battle. Yet something in the data about humans made him uncomfortable. A species that receives a message from the stars and chooses not to respond is a species with secrets. "You are being paranoid," dismissed. "They are probably confused, afraid. We should show them there is nothing to fear." The Council voted to send a diplomatic vessel. The ship carried 5 ambassadors from 5 different species. It was equipped with translation devices, gifts, and a small defensive system. Nothing threatening, nothing aggressive, just a friendly greeting party. The ship entered Earth's solar system and transmitted peaceful intentions. It approached slowly, broadcasting messages of friendship with every passing hour. Earth stayed silent. The ship entered orbit around Earth. It positioned itself above one of the major population centers. The ambassadors prepared to make history. They would be the first to speak directly with this new species. Then something unexpected happened. A single transmission came from Earth. Not words, not images, just a sound. A human voice saying one word in a language the translation system struggled to interpret. Leave. The ambassadors looked at each other. This was not the response they expected. Protocol required them to try again. They sent another message of peace. They explained they meant no harm. They offered technology, knowledge, and friendship. The response came faster this time. This is your only warning. Leave our system, do not return. Ambassador was insulted. His species had brought enlightenment to dozens of primitive worlds. They had never been rejected like this. He ordered the ship to descend closer to the planet to make a stronger show of peaceful intentions. The ship's sensors detected something rising from the planet's surface, multiple objects moving at incredible speed. The ambassadors had only seconds to realize what was happening before the first weapon struck. The diplomatic vessel was destroyed in orbit. 5 ambassadors from 5 species died in an instant. The debris rained down into Earth's atmosphere, burning like falling stars. The Council received the news in shocked silence. They attacked unprovoked, shouted when he recovered. This is an act of war. These humans are savages. We must respond with force. High Counselor was silent for a long moment. She had lived for 800 years. She had seen species come and go. Something about this situation felt wrong. We sent them a message, she said slowly. They told us to leave. We did not leave. We moved closer. They had no right to attack, argued. Perhaps not by our laws, responded. But we know nothing of their laws. We know nothing of their history. We know nothing of them. The council debated for days. War hawks demanded retaliation. Cautious voices urged patience. In the end, anger won. A fleet was assembled, 30 warships from 7 species, enough firepower to reduce a planet's surface to glass. The fleet jumped to Earth's solar system with weapons ready. They found the system empty. No, not empty, changed. Where Earth should have been, there was only darkness. The planet was there, the sensors confirmed, but it was hidden, covered in something the fleet's instruments could not penetrate, a shell of pure black surrounding the entire world. And in orbit around that darkness waited ships. Human ships. Thousands of them. The fleet commander was a warrior named. He had fought in campaigns that lasted decades. He had never felt fear before that moment. Where did these ships come from? He demanded. Their technology was primitive. They barely had space travel. His tactical officer studied the readings with trembling appendages. Commander, these vessels are not using any propulsion system we recognize. Their weapons are charging with energy signatures that exceed anything in our database. Their shields are generating fields we cannot analyze. Stared at the screen. The human ships were not attacking, they were waiting. A transmission came through. This time it was a voice, calm, patient, cold. The council sent messages demanding we respond. We chose silence. Silence should have been your answer. When silence was not enough, we told you to leave. You did not leave. When words were not enough, we showed you consequences. You did not learn. Now you bring weapons to our home. Found his voice. We come to avenge our ambassadors. Your unprovoked attack demands justice. There was a pause. When the voice returned, it carried something new, something that made every being in the fleet feel small. You come seeking justice. Let us discuss justice. For 4,000 years we watched the stars. We detected your transmissions. We decoded your languages. We studied your history. We learned what the council truly is. The voice continued, growing harder with each word. We know about thee and how they strip young worlds of resources in exchange for worthless technology. We know about thee and their genetic experiments on species they consider lesser. We know about thee and the planets they have burned. We know about the wars your council has started to maintain control. We know about the species you have erased from existence for refusing to obey your laws. Felt his blood turn cold, the humans knew they had been watching, listening, learning. You found a quiet planet and assumed we were primitive. You saw our radio signals and thought us simple. You never asked why a species capable of detecting your transmissions chose not to respond. You never wondered what we might be building while you ignored us. The human ships began to move, not aggressively, just repositioning, surrounding the fleet from all sides. We stayed silent because we were preparing. We watched your empires grow fat and lazy. We studied your weapons and built better ones. We analyzed your defenses and designed systems to bypass them. We learned your strategies and created counters for each one. We have spent 4,000 years getting ready for this moment. Looked at his tactical display. His fleet was completely surrounded. Their weapons were powerful, but human technology was clearly beyond anything they had encountered. Your fleet will not survive an engagement, the voice stated simply. But we are not interested in destroying you. Not today. Today we send a message. One of the human ships moved forward. It was larger than the others. Different. Its hull was covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change. Go back to your council. Tell them what you have seen. Tell them that Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered or guided. Tell them that humanity is not a species to be threatened or controlled. Tell them that the silent planet they discovered is awake now. And tell them this. The voice dropped to barely above a whisper. If the Council ever sends ships to our system again, if any vessel bearing Council markings enters our space without explicit invitation, we will not destroy your fleet. We will destroy your Council. We will hunt your species to the edges of the galaxy. We will tear down everything you have built over 12,000 years. And when we are finished, the universe will forget you ever existed. The transmission ended. Ordered an immediate retreat. His fleet jumped away without firing a single shot. When he delivered his report to the council, the great chamber fell into chaos. Representatives shouted demands for war. Others pleaded for peace. Some simply sat in stunned silence. High Counselor listened to everything. When the noise finally died down, she spoke. We sent messages to a quiet world and demanded they respond. They chose silence and we called them primitive. We invaded their space and they warned us once. We ignored that warning and they defended themselves. We sent a fleet of warships and they showed us what they truly are. She looked around the chamber at the collected representatives of 100 species. For 12,000 years, this council has decided who rises and who falls. We believed we were the masters of this galaxy. Today we learned that there is a species out there that does not fear us. A species that watched us for and chose to stay hidden. A species that was preparing while we grew comfortable. His ancient eyes closed for a moment. Today we learned what silence truly means. It means patience. It means preparation. It means a predator waiting in the tall grass while prey walks past without knowing death is watching. She opened her eyes again. Earth stayed silent and we thought them weak. Now we understand. Their silence was never weakness. Their silence was a warning we were too arrogant to hear. And now that they have spoken, I fear we will never feel safe again. The council chamber remained quiet for a long time after that. In the darkness of space, Earth waited, patient, watchful, ready. The humans had finally shown the galaxy what they were. And the galaxy had learned the meaning of fear.